Hey everybody, welcome back to IP Farms. It's another day here in North Carolina. Finally warming back up some. We've been a little chilly compared to what we were. This weather's so up and down. They're saying today is April the 10th, Friday. They're saying Wednesday and Thursday of next week we're supposed to hit 92 or 93 degrees here in April. Unreal. Anyway, we're gonna get started on the 3000 hydraulics. I've got the plate here, and we're gonna get the other one pulled off, get this bolted on, and I'm gonna have to go get some hydraulic lines because these are, I think they're considered 3/8 ports. Get that on there and see what we need for lines lengthwise. We'll get that, hopefully get the planter situated on that aspect. I've got to redo my row markers, add a piece of pipe to it or whatever where I can extend them out. I don't know if any of you guys remember that when I planted corn last time. I had a little bit of trouble there all the way at the end of their range on the pulling the pipe out to go to my 38-inch rows, so I need to add some on so it doesn't pull loose. And then we might do a little bit of work on the chisel plow too. It's kind of up in the air on planting right now. I had planned to plant tomorrow, the 11th, but we don't have any rain in sight. It's really dry and I'm kind of leery of it, so we're just going to kind of wing it and see what happens. So come along, let's see if we can get this hydraulic remote on the 3000. Well, I'll tell you, that's one huge benefit. At least I'm in the shade. It's going to be nice once we get the lean-to done, because all that'll be in the shade. And I got an idea over here on that side of the lean-to of that 53-foot trailer, so hopefully we'll have us a nice place to work in the alley here and still have room to park everything. But anyway, here's what we're after. I gotta take that plate off and then put this remote on. It's just a single remote, that's all I need. Zach hooked me up with that. So I've never done it before. I'm going to take it loose, see how much fluid I lose, and see if we can get it bolted back down and go from there. Yeah, don't always follow my lead for sure. So I guess this center bolt here has to come out as well. At least I don't have any fluid running out. That's a good thing, which the tractor's been sitting. Oh yeah. So take the center bolt out. But anyway, I got everything bolted down. Snug, working on it anyway. I've got a little bit of a dilemma with the handle that I'm not fond of. It's hitting the, I don't know if it's, almost doesn't look like the right handle. I don't know if it got swapped at Zach's at some point in time with a different one or what, but it hits my 3-point thing. I'll show you here in a second. Let me come over there. I've got it loose right now, but you can see here, like that's in the neutral position. So is it neutral? Yeah. So if I try to go back with it, you know, it needs to come back to about there, so that's in the way. And then yeah, forward is fine, but I don't, now stuck in. I don't understand why that's hitting. I mean, it's like this arm needs to be shorter. I don't know if this goes on a different tractor or what, but I'm gonna see if I can make something work here. I think that's cast, so I don't think there's any bend in it, which that's not a big deal. I mean, I can rig something up, but I'm gonna see if I can hopefully space it up enough to clear that without putting anything in a bind. So let me try that and we'll see what happens. Well, that worked for now. The arm is not completely down on there because I got a washer under it. I need to take and cut a flat side off that washer so it'll slide down. It's got a little play in the bolt, but you know, we're not doing that much planting, so it'll be fine for right now, and we'll address that later. So that's the remote. So So there's the ports coming out, and then of course we'll just loop some lines back here, and they make a bracket. They sell this kit on Amazon and make a bracket that bolts to the rear end housing that holds your lines, but I'll probably just leave them loose. That's the way they are on the Massey. They're not actually mounted. It's so much easier to get hooked and unhooked than trying to work those clamps that hold the quick connects. They don't work good. Oliver had those, in my opinion, the cheap ones anyway. So we'll get some lines on there tomorrow and get it hooked up to the planter and see what happens. So I might go down here and mess with the pipes now. If I do, I'll bring you back. If not, tomorrow's a new day. Well, I'm not going to tell you the adventure I had trying to figure out what I did with those row marker ends. I looked everywhere all afternoon yesterday, and finally brainstormed this morning and hit me where they were. But got us some pipe there I found, and I'll bring you back to that. But we're still on the hydraulics of the 3000. Been kind of on the planter this morning, and I ran to the local Ford parts house, Zach's place, and picked up what I needed for the 3000s. Let me show you that. So if you go to the right place, you get the right stuff. You got all Ford factory equipment here. The ends, they ended up being banjo fittings. I had no idea. It was racking my brain trying to figure that out. Not used to seeing that. So I messaged him this morning, and that's just the bracket, and asked him to get me a couple of pictures of their 3000 and 3600, and of course he sent me pictures right back of some new lines they had. And I realized then they were banjo fittings. So he said he had one of these extra remote setups on the shelf, and I asked him how much. He told me, and so we made a beeline over there. I went ahead and picked up my umbrella bracket while we were there, and he threw in a bottom seat bracket. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put that on yet or not, but probably will. But let me get started putting these lines on. And I did get another arm, and I think this one is going to have the correct bend. So let me check that out right quick. All right, guys, well, we got it back together. That's been an ordeal. This whole situation has been an ordeal. Should have been 4 bolts and a couple of lines and go with it, and it's fought me tooth and nail. So I very seriously doubt we're going to get anything else on this video other than seeing if these work when I get it hooked to the planter. The arm did work out. It's got quite the better bend in it to clear my draft float control there. And then the bracket that I got from Zach was right, but we were missing a couple of pieces off of it. That bracket's actually got a couple of pieces of bracketry that should bolt onto that, because the bolt holes run this way on the remotes. But anyway, we just fouled up a piece of angle, aluminum angle there. I had a time, I was trying to get this bolt out of this hitch pin. I ended up having to cut it off because it was hitting right there, but it won't budge. I had 2 pipe wrenches on it, won't budge, so I keep an eye on it. If it starts moving, we'll get it out, and then I'll put the pin in from this side. Somebody's made that one anyway. So that's where we are with it. Everything's good here, bolted down, got the handle back on. I'm gonna clean my tools up, see if we can get it started, and go down there and try to hook it up to the corn planter and see if it'll raise it up and down, and if so, then we can move on to the next project. Not sure if it'll be on this video or not, but we're getting there. Well, so far so good, no leaks, everything's dry. We got it hooked up. I got the hoses curled around too much, but I gotta decide if I'm gonna put that monitor back on the tongue here, if I'm gonna try to mount it somewhere on the tractor. I haven't even really messed with it, but power cord goes up here, what I wired last year, or the year before. But anyway, we'll run it up and down. I certainly am glad I finally got hydraulics on the 3000 now. right, here's what we're gonna do. I got a piece of pipe, showed you that earlier. If you can see here, maybe that's where my set screw's been grabbing the row marker. So you can see there's not much in there, and once you get that far out in the sleeve, you got a lot of play. So it's constantly moving with that disc trying to dig in the ground. It's putting a lot of pressure on it, and you can actually see that one, like I said, where the set screws worked loose. So I'm going to add on 18 inches. This will still be inside the tube. I think I'm going to put the sleeve inside of it, this piece of 1 inch, and just leave a little gap and weld it so I can weld both ends pretty good, and then grind it back instead of trying to build up, you know, butt it right up, kind of like grinding up bevel, if you will. But that'll all be inside the tube, and then the further I've got leverage on that, the tighter it gets in the tube. So the only thing it's really going to bother is if I ever decide to go smaller rows, which I won't. I'll have to cut some of that off because it won't slide in enough, and then getting it in a building. But I've got to where I just pull these out anyway, and a couple of pins, and I can drop the whole row marker off. So it's not a big deal. But we're gonna do a little cutting and welding here. I might bring you along for a clip or two, I don't know. Same old, same old. We'll see if we can get one knocked out and then call this one good. That's the concept. I got to get everything kind of leveled up. I might just set it on the ground, and I need to pull that disc off the end, I guess, and then get me a piece of angle and set it in there so it'll be pretty much square. But like I said, it'll ride. It's going to ride about right here anyway, because I didn't cut any off of that. That's my marks on the set screw. So all this up here is just going to be extra so that it keeps it tight. But I'm gonna try to, like I said, if I can do it, pull it out like that, and I'll fill that up with weld, and then of course that slug will help the bridge there as well, and that way I don't have to do so much grinding back down. The weld won't be so thin on top. Same thing as beveling the pipe, but this is thin wall stuff. So let me do that, and I'll bring you back when we get finished with it, and we'll say the planter's pretty much ready to put some seed in the ground. Yeah, like I always say, we're not running a machine shop, we're running a fab shop. It doesn't need to be filled in perfect. It's just more I gotta grind down, so let's see if it'll fit in the slot now. Perfect. And see, that's got hardly no movement in it whatsoever, because we've got all this up here that's holding tight. I mean, even past my weld. So that's what we needed. Let me show you the other one. So hopefully you can see this, but see how much play that has. So all the tension is on the set screws. There's not much, you know, holding that. But the further you go in with a pipe, of course the tighter it gets regardless. So that's why I wanted to add that on, because that's just too much. And like I said, constantly plowing, it was sitting here doing this, and it worked the set screws loose. So I believe we're golden now. See, that'll be where it is. Oh yeah, perfect. Alright guys, I'll call this one good. I didn't get near as much done as I wanted to on the video, but you know, that's how it is. I set my goals high and usually fall short, but you know, we got some things accomplished. A lot of running around with those hydraulic lines this morning, and then I don't know, it just gave me a fit about that bracket, trying to get something situated. I guess I just got aggravated, for lack of better words, but got it on there. Remotes are done, checked that off the list. I went ahead and mounted the monitor back on the planter. You know, the Ford is pretty tight in the steering, so you know, hold a good line. It's not gonna hurt me to spin my head around a minute just to make sure. I think that might have messed me up the first time because I had the monitor over here and trying to drive straight, you know, but the Alice didn't have the best steering in the world either, so hoping that makes a big difference. But we'll see, time will tell. So got the road markers finished up, showed you a little bit about that. Probably next on the agenda is working on the field cultivator. Calling for a little bit of chance of rain this afternoon. It is clouding up. I wish it would. Everybody needs it, and it wouldn't hurt to put some moisture in the ground before we plant. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna get everything lined up to plant this week after work, or if I'm just gonna wait and try to hit it next Saturday. That's probably what it's gonna be. So I'll have everything ready and done. I might spread the fertilizer and disc it in Friday night or Friday evening, and then be ready to plant. So fingers crossed. Stay tuned. If you're interested in any merchandise, go check out farmmerchbin.com. Allison does amazing work. Hats, shirts, koozies, license plates, keychains, you name it. If you can think of it, she can do it. They do amazing work. Does a lot of it for some other channels here on YouTube. So check them out. Tell them Nelson IP Farm sent you. We go in and get a shower, wait on the wife to get home. We're going to go get something to eat. See what happens over the next couple of days. Till then, thank you.